Right now, though, it's time to catch up with Hannah Hope, showbiz editor at The Sun on Sunday. ITV still in meltdown. It turns out that the scandal bosses at ITV are going to be quizzed by MPs next week. Philip Schofield's been dumped now by the Prince's Trust, in addition to losing his wine, in addition to losing his WeBuyAnyCard.com job, and also, of course, This Morning job. Dame Carolyn McCall has been asked to have some explanations ready for what exactly went on, whether or not Philip Schofield's boyfriend was indeed paid off, whether in fact other people have been paid off, whether there were NDAs. We're now hearing, Hannah, very good morning to you, by the way, we're now hearing that basically there may be some high-profile stars who are withholding their, shall we say, permission to work until changes are made, which might include sacking people.
Yeah, it does look like a sacrificial lamb is needed among heads of management. Lots of people are sort of saying that it should be Carolyn McCall, but she's not going to give that £3.5 million a year job up easily. So it's more likely to be someone like Martin Frizzell, who is the long-running This Morning editor. There's been multiple claims of toxicity on This Morning, regardless of Philip's affair with the young runner. Backstage rumours of feuds and a generally bad atmosphere. So that would be an easier kind of head to roll, as it were. But it is increasingly feeling like something does need to be done, and potentially an internal investigation via an outside organisation as well, to put faith back into the channel, not just with the viewers, but with the advertisers and sponsors.
Well, that's right, because they've lost Arnold Clark already from This Morning. I'm told they're losing advertising at a sort of rate of knots. They've also lost share price as well. It wasn't too bad yesterday, I don't know what it's doing today, but certainly under Carolyn McCall's reign, the share price has dipped by about 50%, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that lots of people have lost faith in the organisation and the future of This Morning, and many of it shows. And certainly, while it feels like there is no leadership throughout this crisis, I think that doubt is going to continue, and certainly share prices will continue to waver. It just feels that they aren't making enough statements. There's no big announcements from any of the people in charge who are paid the big bucks to navigate this ship through such crisis.
Well, the problem seems to me to be that the way they got here was by kind of not really saying very much about anything and keeping everything stum and hoping that nobody would ever find anything out. And they kind of are carrying on with that strategy. Their strategy seems to be to say very little and hope that, having had Philip Schofield tell everybody that he'd lied to them all, that it'll all go away. And well, it's not going to, is it?
It's not going to go away anytime soon. And what really upsets me is that it feels very unfair to viewers, dumbing them down, just assuming they're going to lap up whatever is put on the television and not ask questions. But I think the viewers are owed more for loyally tuning into this show for 30-odd years. I mean, surely they're owed an explanation, or at least a promise that something like this won't happen again. Certainly this week, the Friday presenters, Alison Hammond and Dermot O'Leary, are steering the ship and hosting, putting on smiley faces. I have noticed there aren't any celebrity guests. It seems to just be show regulars and normal people, as it were, keeping it quite safe. I mean, if you're a Hollywood star coming in to promote a new movie, you're not going to think, I want to go on This Morning. It seems to be surrounded in controversy at the moment.
Yeah, exactly right. Because, I mean, I thought it was a bit bizarre on Monday when they opened with Charles Brandreth telling everybody how great it was to be there and how lovely everybody was and how he always looked forward to working there. And it was kind of like, yeah, all right, mate, fine, carry on. We're not really interested in whether it's a great place to work. Just do whatever it is you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, Giles, he's really rich and, like, it's a nice little job for him, isn't it? And I think they're going to get him on for more and more posts. He's just looking for more work at this point. I mean, there's a gaping gap in the This Morning hole, so of course he's going to use it to butter everyone up.
But, I mean, interesting that there's all these stories now about NDAs and possible payoffs to people, because there's several questions about that, it seems to me. One, there's tax implications. You know, how much money have they actually handed out? The board will be interested to know how much money has passed through the various coffers. I mean, there's some suggestions that the runner in question was paid off to the tune of about 300,000 quid. You know, how was that made? How was that money paid? Was it a redundancy payment? Was it an NDA deal? You know, what was it? And I think there's going to have to be information about all of those deals.
These reports surfaced online last night. You're absolutely right, Graham. And there is obviously no comment from anyone at ITV currently. So when a story is met by silence, you can only assume that it's true. The nature of NDAs is that it's very difficult to get any information about them. So certainly we're just relying on sources talking to us at this point. But I do think more information will start to come out as the week progresses, and it will be very interesting. Today, Holly Willoughby has said that she will be on the sofa on Monday, but as the crisis worsens, it's going to be increasingly awkward, her sitting smiling on that sofa, pretending everything's okay.
Well, this is it. I mean, more and more people watching it are beginning to say, well, perhaps this morning needs to be sort of put to bed and you need to come up with another idea for another show. And a lot of people think that Holly Willoughby will survive, but probably not as the host of This Morning, and they'll find some other, vehicle for her to be involved with.
It seems like This Morning sofa needs a complete rebrand. I mean, people are saying behind the scenes that the idea has been forwarded to take it off air for a while and let it come back as a similar show, but something different.
Yeah.
I mean, Holly loves the show. She said that publicly, and she's been on it for 14 years. She's worked hard. She had struggles with Philip behind the scenes of not being able to have her say. So you can understand from her point of view, she's thinking, I haven't done anything wrong. Why should I walk away? So I wonder if she will come back in the new format. But certainly at the moment, you seeing her sat there, you are just simply reminded of her long-term partnership with Phil, and he is absolutely toxic.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And is there any danger, do you think, of ITV being in play at this moment in time? Because some people have also suggested that because the share price has dipped a little bit, because it might be a bit of a bargain and it is very beleaguered, is there a market for somebody to take it over?
I think there's always that market for someone to take it over. I mean, I haven't heard anything that dramatic yet. I would imagine if you were going to swoop in and buy the channel, you'd maybe want to see how this played out first. We very much are in the eye of the storm. So I think that more announcements will be made. I mean, I would be very surprised if the press office just keep burying their head in the sands and hoping it goes away, because it only seems to be getting worse and worse and worse, and revelations seem to be coming out. It's hard to keep up, isn't it? There's more as the day progresses. I mean, if we were speaking this time tomorrow, who knows what we could be talking about?
Well, here's another little mention for you to whet the appetite for later. Apparently, Holly Willoughby, we're told, has wiped all mentions of ITV This Morning from her Instagram account.
Yeah, I did look into this before coming on air. I mean, it's interesting. She doesn't mention it in her bio, as they call it, the little bit of blurb at the top. But if you scroll down, she does still feature pictures of her on the sofa. But you are right, she doesn't mention This Morning. So that could be a sign that she is stepping away. I mean, they do say these days that we are a reflection of our Instagram accounts. So the internet sleuths have been very much on top of this one.
Well, this is it, isn't it? Because you've got all these various different agents and agencies who are kind of interested in spinning things. I mean, yesterday I thought it was amazing to see that story from presumably Philip Schofield, in which it said that Martin Frizzell got an email from Philip Schofield asking if there might not be a backlash if they did the old jumping the queue in Westminster. And, I mean, I'm not sure anybody with any grasp on reality actually believes the word of that.
Well, I mean, that was a Sun story, and that did actually come from a very good source.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess it's interesting, isn't it? Because even though Philip has been officially cancelled via ITV and via the public, it's interesting to know he's obviously still thinking about the goings-on of the last year and thinking, well, hang on a minute, Qgate could have been avoided if they'd listened to me. So he's obviously stewing over some of the happenings that have been playing out publicly.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to predict what happens next with this story, but certainly we can probably be assuming that until Tuesday, when these ITV execs appear before a parliamentary committee, there will be loads going on over this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, it's important to say that they're not being hauled up in front of MPs because of this scandal. It just coincided quite nicely where they're going there to talk about the media bill. But obviously the MPs have their moment to grill them. And I really do hope they do us proud and ask those important questions, because it's going to be absolutely intense viewing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fascinating few days, as ever. Hannah, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. Hannah Hope, the showbiz editor at The Sun on Sunday. She'll be busy this week, as will we all, trying to keep up with this particular story. It is like a roller coaster. It's a soap opera to end all soap operas. It's